Welcome back, everybody. This is kind of like part 2 of our Monday live stream. We just finished making a dishcloth version of our summer, or I should say our sunflower coaster pattern. And hot pads were discussed early on in the stream. I suggested that maybe holding 2 strands together would be the best way to make a hot pad. As opposed to, you could also make just 2 of the larger placemat version, but I feel like 2 strands held together of our coaster pattern is going to be enough. I'm just clearing my throat here. A little bit of water. Mr. InStitches, how are we doing?
We are doing great. It looks like most everyone has found the new stream.
Excellent.
And we have a poll up for choosing the colors. It looks like we have 82 votes.
Great. Okay, so we're all back. Or some of you are new.
I wouldn't say we're all back, but we're getting there.
We're getting there. Okay, well, I'm just going to recap. Like I said, just finished with the sunflower dishcloth. Now, for part 2, we are going to turn this exact same pattern into a poinsettia, and we're going to turn it into a hot pad at the same time. So, Mr. InStitches has a poll going up at the top. We are looking for the color that we're going to make the center of the poinsettia. So remember, poinsettias, if you're not familiar with them, are mostly a red flower. And there's a very small little middle section. And they also are known for their the pretty yellow stamen. So I'm actually going to use yellow afterwards. I have an idea. So what I'm looking for is just sort of the middle color to start with, which I think I'm just going to make one little row. I think row 1 will be the only differentiation in main color, and then I'm going to go right into red. So I think the poll we've got up there right now is what color to start the center with. Will we use black, green, purple, or gray? Keeping in mind that I'm going to add a little bit of yellow at the end, just kind of to create that stamen look, that center of the poinsettia look. This is a little bit of an experiment, but I do love poinsettia flowers, and I love the idea of having a poinsettia hot pad for the upcoming holidays. May as well get started on this stuff now. The sunflowers are great for the fall. They transition you right into Thanksgiving in the United States throughout November, and then you can take the same pattern and with a couple little colory tweaks turn it into a poinsettia. And that's what we're going to do with part 2 of the live stream here on a Monday. If we've got 100 votes on the poll up top, we'll end it, and I will leap right in. In the meantime, I'm using a larger hook now because I'm going to hold 2 strands of a size 4 medium weight cotton yarn together. I recommend a K hook, also known as a 6.5 millimeter or a 7 millimeter. That's what this one is. Pair of scissors, yarn needle. You might want a stitch marker. You may not need it. I didn't need it for the last one, but it's always good to have one of those around. And how's the poll looking, mister?
First of all, I'd like to thank Nico again for gifting a membership before we started here.
Thank you, Nico.
We have 127 votes.
So wow.
I guess I will go ahead and end that poll.
Perfect.
I hope everyone has found us. I don't think everyone has found our second stream here, but we'll get started anyway.
So, 128 votes. Black wins with 45% of the vote, followed by green, then purple, then gray. Okay, I am going to use black for the very center of the poinsettia, and I see people talking yellow. Don't worry, yellow is going to be a little addition at the end, so don't worry about that. I'm going to start with black, though. I think that's a really great suggestion because I think it's going to highlight that center of the poinsettia, and then it'll really offset the little yellow decorations we do at the very end. So here we go. Okay, I'm going to put this aside. I'm going to keep these guys just sort of up here. 2 strands held together. I'm going to mix my yarns. I'm using size 4 medium weight 100% cotton. I've got some Bernat Handicrafter. This is Re-Up by Lion Brand. The Re-Up's awesome because it's just recycled cotton. They just took cotton and then recycled it again into more yarn. So that's going to be the leaf part. And I'm going to hold 2 strands together of this black yarn, which seems to be attached to my, come here you. Now, because this is just a very small amount, oh, look at that. I've got enough. I probably have enough.
We got a membership gifted from Shelly.
Shelly, thank you so much.
Shelly figured it out. I think Shelly was asking earlier.
Yes, I think she was. Shelly, thank you so much for gifting a membership. Both you and Nico, thank you, thank you, thank you. And
looks like Maeve won.
Maeve, welcome back, Maeve. Awesome sauce. Okay, so I'm going to hold 2 strands together. And now this is exactly the same beginning as the little sunflower coaster or dishcloth. Like I said before, we've got a tutorial on how to make this, and we've got a tutorial for the Big Brother, the placemat version. So if you want a more concise look at the pattern, we'll make sure those are all linked below. And I'm going to change the coloring of the pattern a little bit to get the poinsettia look. And because I'm going to do a hot pad version, I'm holding 2 strands held together. So I know I'm using black, but don't worry, I'm going to explain what I'm doing. And if you need to see it again, it starts the same in the original tutorial. I'm going to start with a cinch circle.
We have a membership milestone from Joanna.
Hello, Joanna. Jayda, can we use acrylic for the poinsettia? Yes, Joanna. If you want to just make this as a just a decoration, then you can use acrylic. But if you actually want to use it as a coaster or a dishcloth or a hot pad, do not use acrylic because you can't put hot things on acrylic. It melts it. Acrylic is a man-made material that's akin to a plastic. It's got a plastic-like melt point. So you want to use natural fibers for things like hot pads or dishcloths or coasters. So cotton, wool, cotton wool blends, bamboo, linen, anything that's natural has a much higher threshold for heat. So I recommend that. But if you just want this to be something pretty to kind of maybe sit at the side of the room, or maybe you want it to sit underneath a basket or something, like if it's not going to actually be dealing with anything hot or essentially cold, then absolutely you can use any fiber you like. We start with the cinch circle. We chain 3 to begin. The chain 3 of row 1 does not count as a double crochet. And into that cinch circle, we work 11 more double crochets. So we will have 12 stitches all together. This is just 1 row of dark color. And like I said, if you absolutely need to see how this looks close up, we've got a tutorial in which we start with a better color. Easier to see, but if you know how to use double crochets, then that's all this is, just double crocheting into the cinch circle. And then I'll be switching up to the red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm halfway done. I need 6 more stitches. Ball of yarn bounces off the table at me. Danny Mom with a membership milestone. Hey, Danny. Danny Mom has been a member for 2 months at Silk. Thank you so much. She says, I am so grateful for you guys. Thank you. Can you do a tutorial on how to turn these into a granny square? We have a granny square, a sunflower granny square tutorial already. It's not this one, but it's a much easier to maneuver granny sunflower shape into a granny square. And we have a very fancy flower that looks like this and is built similarly to this one, turned into a granny square. We have a pattern for that over in our Etsy shop. I think we call it our spring flower granny square. So it's got a similar kind of shaping to it, and you can change up the colors to get more of a sunflowery look. And if you want to check that out, that's over at the Etsy shop. And that reminds me, our sunflower pattern is on sale. It's our little sneaky Monday sale over in our Etsy shop. Our sunflower coaster, sunflower placemat, the bonus bundle of the two of them together, the placemat and the coaster, and our sunflower granny square are all 15% off. They're all the featured listings up top in the shop. So if you pop over there and take a look, you should see them right up top if you're interested in picking up a copy for yourself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, that's 12. 12. I'm going to cinch my circle shut, and I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 and fasten off. This is the only little bit of dark color I'm going to use, and then I'm going to switch immediately to red. So in the original pattern, we did 3 rows of the center color before we fastened off. To change it for a poinsettia, I'm just going to do 1 row of the center color, and you can use whatever color you want, black, yellow, whatever you feel makes sense. I'm going to be adding a little bit of yellow detail afterwards, so I'm not completely done with colors yet, but there we go. So if I just take my little strings out of the way, I have 12 stitches all the way around, and I'm going to focus on that 12. And here I go. I'm going to grab my other colors here. I'm going to get my black yarn right out of the way. Put that aside. Now, where are my 2 ends? Where are my ends? Oh, here we go. Okay. So I'm going to be holding 2 strands of red yarn now together. So I went with 2 strands in black. Now I'm switching to 2 strands in red, and these are both different reds. I've got a slightly darker red, a little more like a lipstick, and a slightly lighter red, a little more like a cherry. They're both 100% cotton yarn. They're both a size 4 medium weight, and I think that that slight differentiation in shade is going to give some depth to my poinsettia leaves. So I'm kind of excited to see how that turns out. We're going to start with a slip knot on our hook, and I'm going to join right in the same place that I fastened off. So if I pull up on that loop, I can see right that little space right where I fastened off. I'm going to join with a slip stitch. I've got a whole bunch of strings here. I'm going to double crochet over all of them. Let me just get this joined. I'm using a hook with a very sharp nose on it, so it wants to split my yarn. There we go. Okay. I am attached with a slip stitch. I see a membership milestone from Kathy. Hi, Kathy. Kathy's been a member for 39 months. Thank you. Yay! I made a live. Love that pattern. Thank you, Kathy. Us too. I love it too. I also just love making useful things for the kitchen. All right, we're going to chain 3. Because we are doing this fun little circular increasing shape, the chain 3 at the beginning of rows 2 and 3 of this pattern will not count as a stitch, but I'll explain that more again when we get back to it. Into the same place that I just joined, I'm going to double crochet, and now I'm going to work 2 double crochet into each of the next 11 stitches. So there's that next stitch always looks a little funny, don't miss it. I'm going to get my hook underneath that. It's going to be a little tight. From here on out, things are going to be easier to see. I'm going to try really hard not to split my yarn. 2 double crochet, holding 2 strands together in each of the next 11 stitches, trying not to split my yarns. There we go. So I have to maybe crochet a little slower than normal. That's okay. Mayla! Hey, Mayla! Mayla's been a member for 20 months. Thank you so much, Mayla. Mayla says, thanks to you, my granny square count is now at 125. Whoa! That's amazing. That is a lot of granny squares. You could make a lot with 125 granny squares. Gonna make sure that my yarn doesn't knot up on me here. All right, first casualty. No knots. I do not accept knotting. It's not so much a knot as it is a tangle, I suppose. All right. Now what is going on here? I don't know. Aha. Strange. Jayda takes a moment to untangle her yarn, which has somehow already tangled itself. I see. There we go. All done. Okay. So where was I? 2 double crochet in each stitch all the way around. I am just working over top of my loose tails because I have like 6 of them here and I just want to weave them all in as I go. And since this is going to be a hot pad, a little extra yarn right in the center underneath those stitches is not a bad thing. I can hear you snickering, mister.
I'm just giggling away here. Giggling to myself. I'm liking the color combinations there.
Yes, I do too. This is going to be, I assume that
I know
we are
it's difficult for everyone to see the black stitches, but
it's basically this.
Yeah.
So it's the first row of the regular sunflower. So it's just a chain 3 and 11 double crochet all worked into a cinch circle and cinched tight. And the chain 3 is used as a stitch for row 1 only. So that's all that is. The difference here is that I'm just holding 2 strands together and I'm using a slightly bigger hook. I think that we will be upsizing from about 6 inches in diameter for the dishcloth / coaster to about 8 inches or 20 centimeters in diameter for this hot pad. But we shall see because I will measure it when I'm done.
We should remind everyone about our mini sneaky sale because this is a new stream.
I did actually.
Oh, did you? I missed that.
It's because you were too busy giggling.
Danny asked for the link. I just popped it in the chat now. Perfect. I will pin it.
Yes.
Just so everyone knows, my computer's getting pretty old, so it kind of struggles processing all of this. So sometimes the chat jitters, or it's really delayed, or like the image is delayed. So I'm not exactly on time with what's being said or asked about.
Yes, please bear with us in our older equipment.
Yeah, we'll replace it with something newer and faster in the future.
As soon as we can afford it. That's definitely on the it's definitely on the plan. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. Good. So I have 2 double crochet worked in every single one of those 11 stitches past where we chained 3 and double crocheted into the same stitches joining. That leaves us with the false stitch. Now it's difficult to see, but when you get there yourself, I'll just stick my hook through it. There's an actual stitch. There's a gap there. The false stitch, it's what shows up when you join a row with a slip stitch when you're working in the round, whether you're working circular or square or rectangle. If you're working in a consistent round and you join with a slip stitch, you get a false stitch. Sometimes we use it, sometimes we don't. We're going to use it. We're going to double crochet once into that stitch. We're going to skip the chain 3 and join with a slip stitch to the top of the real double crochet right next to it. And that will kind of shove the chain 3 to the back. It's kind of there, but what it does is it makes a perfect round gapless center, and you have an even 24 double crochet all the way around. I'm already in love with this. This looks like a poppy. Look at this two-toned red. Yes, I really like that. Very poppy-esque, but it's going to be a poinsettia. All right, we are already, look at that. 2 rows in, we're already at the size of almost 3 rows of the original pattern with just 1 strand. So 2 rows or 2 strands together really does change things. We're going to do 1 more row of increasing in the round as a circle. We're going to chain 3 to begin, double crochet into the same stitches joining, double crochet into the next stitch, and now we're going to do that 2 1 2 1 repeating increased pattern all the way around. 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet, all the way around. And when we get back to the false stitch, we're going to double crochet once into that, skip the chain 3, and join with a slip stitch. So we're going to have 36 stitches. The chain 3 does not count as a double crochet in this row. The fun thing about combining yarns is that not only can you upsize a pattern really quickly, but when I've got like these 2 different shades, I feel like it's just added so much depth already to this pattern just by mixing those 2 little shades together.
Loletta would like to see some more baby clothing tutorials.
Like what? Anything in
give
particular?
us some ideas. I believe we have
We've got
at least 10 or 20 baby inspired crochet tutorials on YouTube. I think definitely booties and
we've got
some clothing.
booties, we've got oodles of blankets, got 2 different cardigans.
Lots of toys.
Yeah, we've got cardigans, we've got hats. So yeah, if there's something in particular you're thinking of. Better not get that confused. There we go. When you're working with 2 strands held together, it's good to stop every so often and just, I like to kind of take my 2 strands and just run them alongside each other and make sure I've got some slack that's even for both yarns, because I don't want to use one color more than, or one yarn more than its neighbor. So I like to pause every once in a while and make sure that I've smoothed out any sort of wrinkles or bumps or slack that might be showing up in one or the other. Helps to make a neater bit of crochet. So it's that 2 1 2 1 2 1 pattern all the way around. I've got 2 sets left. And when you get to your last repeat, you're going to work 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet. That brings us up to the false stitch, and we're going to work 1 double crochet into that stitch. So 2 1, and then 1 double crochet into the false stitch. So there's my last repeat done. Double crochet once into the false stitch. Sometimes that's a bit tight, but not terribly. And then skip the chain 3, find the top of the double crochet right next to it, and join with a slip stitch. And that is 36 double crochets. That is the equivalent of these 3 rows. And we're definitely bigger now. Danny, thank you so much for picking up a pattern at our shop. So 3 double crochets, or 3 rows of double crochet circular using 2 strands held together and a larger hook. We are already at almost 5 inches in diameter, which is 12 centimeters. So this is going to be a really nice size for a hot pad. We're already larger than this middle here. Shari! Hi, Shari! Shari's been a member for 20 months. Happy to be here again. We're happy you're here too. Thank you so much. All right, we are into...
Looks like everyone from the previous stream has found us again.
That's awesome.
Plus some new people.
Are these flower patterns in your shop? Yes, they are, Sylvia. This is our sunflower coaster pattern. The sunflower coaster pattern is a featured pattern up top in our shop. Its big brother, the placemat, is also there. You can get both of them together in the bundle. That's also up top in the shop. And we also have a sunflower granny square, slightly different shaped sunflower, but if you're into the whole squaring up the flower thing, then we have a pattern for that. They're all featured in our shop right now, and they're all 15% off today and tomorrow. A little sneaky sale. We also have an original tutorial for this, so if you want a more concise version of the tutorial, we will have those links for you after the live is finished.
If everyone purchases one of Jayda's patterns, then I can humbly beg her for money for my new computer.
It's true. Might be able to get the new computer.
I'll have to work on my begging skills.
Okay, we are going to transition now to the petal part. So where in the original pattern we finished with the center color and switched, we're now just going to go directly into the petals because we're not changing colors. So right where we join the row, we are going to chain 3. And we're going to double crochet into each of the next 3 double crochets. So right, if you pull up where you chained 3 and you see that space right there, you're not working into that space. This chain 3 is kind of, you're going to think of it in terms of it's sitting right inside this stitch here. You're going to double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches.
We have a milestone, I believe, from Kim.
Hi, Kim. Kim, member for 12 months.
We have
just a plain I'm here.
Just a plain I'm here. Member for 12 months, no message. I'm sure Kim was trying to put a message in there.
Kim, we're glad you're here.
Your hook. Is that a Knit Picks? I believe it is.
It's a Knit Picks Rainbow Wood.
Knit Picks Rainbow Wood.
Yep.
Can you hold it closer to the camera,
isn't that
please?
just
Thank you.
Gorgeous. I mean, the only complaint I have about this, actually I've got 2 complaints, is that one, this is a very sharp little nose, which sometimes is very helpful and sometimes is not. And also the actual size is not on this anywhere. It's not etched in, it's not written on it. So I know that this is my 7. But I also have now a set of other rainbow wood hooks, and I haven't pulled them out because I'm afraid that I'm not going to know which size they are at a glance. So I know that that's a 7.
You're going to need a new hook case, like the one those tulips came in. They all have their little spot.
Yes, they all have their own little spot.
We have a funny super chat from Lucy.
Lucy! Thank you for the super chat. She says, for the computer fund, I wouldn't want to lose the live streams. Thank you so much, Lucy.
Thank you so much. I am legit going to put that in the computer fund.
Yes, that's going into the computer fund. We really do need a new computer. This computer is...
It's a good computer. It's just, it's old, so it doesn't have the processing power.
It's about 10 years old, isn't it?
It's getting there.
Yeah.
It's getting close to 10. Yeah, I'm going to say somewhere between 8 and 9.
We've sort of upgraded all the little bits of it that we can, and that's sort of, we've hit that wall where you can't upgrade bits.
No, we're at the point where we would need to upgrade everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're basically you're basically buying a case.
Yeah, you're just...
Like for a new... You might as well just get the new computer.
Yes, it's true.
Because you have to upgrade
the monitor's
every
fine.
part.
Yeah, the monitor's fine. It's just the tower that needs everything replaced. Okay, chain 3, double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches, chain 1, and repeat. Double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. We're not skipping any stitches. Double crochet into each of those next 4 stitches. And then chain 1 and repeat. Double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches, chain 1. So we're not skipping any stitches, we're just double crocheting 4 stitches at a time and then chaining 1. And the chain 1 creates a little space and a little miniature increase in between those stitches, which we will use in row 5. And you'll see it like this. So there's the little chain 1 spaces with the 4 double crochet in the middle. I am so obsessed with the way these 2 reds are playing together. I just feel like I'm looking at a giant gorgeous poppy. And yet And yet it's going to turn into a poinsettia. Shape and color are everything. 4 double crochets, chain 1, 4 double crochets, chain 1. I'm so glad you guys were able to hang out with us some more after our little live stream earlier today. I really did feel like it made sense to kind of just take a little break, just so everybody could, you know, get themselves together or grab a cup of coffee or whatever you wanted to. And then we've got 2 separate streams because they're basically 2 halves of the same project, but I feel like it makes sense to sort of split them into 2. So if down the road you want to come back and sort of just see the dishcloth, or you want to see the actual hot pad, then you don't have to sort of fast forward through like a whole hour of project in order to get to the one you want to see. I like it. So this is a very simple row. We're just double crocheting sets of 4 with a chain 1 in between. We're still going to have 36 double crochets, but we're also going to have 9 chain 1 spaces at the end of this row. And I'm taking my time. I'm making sure that I'm not using up one strand of yarn more or less than the other. So I'm pausing regularly to just sort of smooth those yarns between my fingers. Dee! Hi, Dee! Dee has just picked up a pattern at the Etsy shop. Thank you so much, Dee.
Building up that new computer fund.
Yay! Marietta, thank you so much. Marietta's picked up a couple patterns at our shop too. Thank you so much, guys. Yes, we always need to update a little something around here. It's a humble operation that we run. We got the new internet, or the better internet finally, and now it's too much for our equipment. It's just constantly something.
It never ends.
No.
You're like, okay, we'll finally upgrade the internet now that we can. And then your computer's old.
And then
you realize your microphone isn't good enough. Or your camera doesn't compute with the new computer.
Yes. It's just always something.
It's never ending.
Okay, I have got sets of 4 double crochets. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4. What does it look like? I have 5. Oh, it's because I pulled it in the wrong place. There we go. So 4 double crochets, chain 1, 4 double crochet, chain 1, all the way around, not skipping any stitches. I'm just sort of pulling out the chain 1 spaces just to sort of that you can really see them. Don't forget that last chain 1 when you work your last double crochet, and then you're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of the chain 3. So the chain 3 that began the row does count as a double crochet for this row. I'm just trying to...
We have a super chat from Shari.
Shari!
Big thank you.
Thank you so much, Shari. That helps tremendously. All right, so I've got
I'll be
chain 1
begging
spaces.
Jayda for computer money in no time. I might even ask for the super fancy good computer.
The good computer? All right, so this is what we've got so far. Row 4 is sets of 4 double crochet interrupted by chain 1s. So you should have 9 chain 1 spaces all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 9 sets of 4 double crochets. And each of these sets of 4 double crochets are going to become one of the leaves. So row 5 is where we make the fancy little petal edge, not leaf, petal edge. Actually, is a poinsettia petals or leaves? Brain folds in half. A poinsettia's petals look like leaves. I guess it's petals? I don't really know. Anyway, so row 5, last row, where are we at in terms of size? At the end of row 4 with the double strand effect, we are already a little over 6 inches or about 16 centimeters in diameter. So this is going to be a lovely hot pad size. Let's make those beautiful fancy petal edges now. We are going to reach back or almost below into that chain 1 space and slip stitch. So easy does it. We're starting in that chain 1 space. So you slip stitch kind of backwards into it. We chain 3. And now, oops, I dropped.
Can I just say I'm loving Cammie's new name? Cammie the Yarny Horseman. I believe that's Cammie.
Cammie the Yarny Horseman.
Yes, is this the same Cammie? Can you let me know? Is this Cammie Cameron? Because I'm seeing Cammie the Yarny Horseman.
I like that.
And I like the name.
Oh, Sylvia! Thank you so much, Sylvia. Sylvia's picked up a pattern. Chain 3, we're going to double crochet the next 4 stitches together. That includes the top of the chain 3 from the previous row and these 3 stitches. So here we go, yarn over. We're going to start a double crochet in the top of the chain 3 from the previous row. Work the first half of it. Start a double crochet in the top of the next stitch, which is a little bit tight because of that chain 3, but I'm going to slip my hook into it. There we go. Start a double crochet in the next stitch. Work the first half and start a double crochet in the last of those 4 stitches and work the first half. You will have 5 loops on your hook, your starting loop, and a loop representing each of those half worked double crochet stitches. Yarn over, pull back through all 5 loops. So that's the double crochet 4 stitches together part of the petal. Now we want to make this nice little petal point. So we chain 3. We look for this little loop right here that passes over top of all 4 of those double crochets that are joined together. You find that loop, stick your hook right through it, and slip stitch. That anchors your little chain 3 point. And then you chain 3 and you anchor it with a slip stitch in the chain 1 space from the previous row. So every little petal point starts with a chain 3, ends with a chain 3. There's a 4 double crochet held to, or 4 double crochets sort of squished together in the middle, and there's a little point at the top.
A big thank you to everyone supporting our computer fund. I really appreciate it. We're getting all kinds of loving support here.
Thank you, guys.
I just have one more threshold. I have to beg Jayda for the computer money.
Yes, I'm going to enjoy that immensely.
That's going to require a lot of yarn. A lot of yarn gifting.
A lot of yarn gifting. Or
it's
we just
more like a bribe than a beg.
Or we get to watch what I want to watch for like a week straight.
Do I have to stay awake?
Yeah. Well, you don't usually, so I guess
Is that part of the rules? Can I fall asleep?
Yes, you certainly can. All right, we're going to do this whole petal thing again. So here we go. We're going to chain 3. That just sort of stands out on its own. We're going to double crochet these 4 stitches together. So work the first half of a double crochet in the top of each of those stitches. You'll have 5 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull back through everything nice and easy. Chain 3. Anchor that chain 3 with a slip stitch in that loop that passes over top of those double crochet 4 together. And then before we finish, we chain 3, and that takes us down the other edge of the petal. We anchor it with a slip stitch in that chain 1 space.
Crocus would like to know where you got your hooks. I believe a mixture of everywhere.
Yes.
Mary Maxim had them.
Yes. This one came from Mary Maxim. I got the other smaller set of Rainbow Woods from Len's Mill.
Oh, yes.
They're
kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
Knit Picks, I think, has like a purple packaging usually.
Yes.
Clear and purple color.
White and purple. And it's specifically the Knit Picks Rainbow Wood.
Yeah, Rainbow Wood, that's right.
It's also the same as my Mega Wool Winder.
You can order directly from Knit Picks, says Joanna.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you, Joanna. That makes sense. I'm sure everybody's got a website these days. All right, that's my third of 9 petals completed. Gee, that's pretty. I like it. And for those of you who are thinking to yourself, gee, I thought like a poinsettia had like a yellowy center. A poinsettia has yellow stamen in the middle. I feel like they're often covered in sparkles at Christmas. You know, they insist on dumping sparkles all over a poinsettia. Like, they're not pretty enough. Like, just leave them alone. You don't have to dump sparkles all over them. But those little yellow stamen in the middle are, they kind of stick out a little bit. So I'm going to actually create a little bit of sort of yellow detailing in the center, and that black center is really going to like show them up nicely. So since we're doing a little something special with this pattern, we may as well go all the way, as they say. So far, the only thing I've changed about our sunflower coaster pattern is where I changed color. So I changed color right after row 1. And I'm using 2 strands held together with a bigger hook. And then we will hold them both side by side when they're done to really appreciate just how different you can make a single pattern look.
Big shout out to all the lurkers out there. We haven't forgotten about you.
We love our lurkers.
We know you're there.
Gee, I like this a lot. All right.
We're all having a conversation on how to properly pronounce poinsettia.
Oh. Poinsettia. That's how I say it.
Poinsettia? Poinsettia?
Poinsettia.
Poinsettia?
I guess, I don't know. I mean, we're from Southern Ontario, so... I mean,
yeah, it depends on where you are in the world.
We say poinsettia.
The way it's spelt to me looks like poinsettia. There's an IA at the end.
Yeah. Poinsettia.
Poinsettia.
Poinsettia. Yeah. Poinsettia. I don't know.
Someone in the chat, if you know, let me know. But to me, that word sounds like it comes from like Eastern Europe.
2 T's and an IA on the end.
Yeah, maybe someone in the chat knows.
Oh, I'm sure somebody in the chat knows. Somebody always knows. This is what's so cool about this community. I've got 2 more petals to go, and then I will be done the main build. And then there's just a little bit of color detailing I'm going to add in at the end. If you just wanted to make this without any extra detailing, and you wanted it to look like a poinsettia, then you could absolutely make the center yellow. But I'm hoping my little experiment is going to pay off here. That's my second last petal. All done. I'll just slip stitch in there, and I've got 1 more to go.
Caroline calls it the Christmas plant.
The Christmas
I think that's a good way to. That's a good way to.
They're really pretty.
It's the Christmas plant.
I like the. I just I see them. They come in white. They come in red. I've seen them in a beautiful pink.
Are those the ones that you see at the grocery store?
Yeah, covered in sparkles.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I do not like the sparkles.
No, I'm not a big fan of the sparkles.
I call that glitter litter.
Glitter litter.
It's basically micro garbage.
Yeah, it is. I agree. Sparkle's pretty, but it's really not that healthy. All right, that's my last petal finished. So now I'm going to snip my yarn. I'm going to weave in my tails. Thank you, yarn. Oh, this is really pretty. Okay, so I'm flipping it to the back. I'm going to take my yarn needle and weave these tails in.
Krista's making me laugh.
Lost one. Gotta throw that one in. That was Catherine. Catherine, thank you so much for picking up a couple of patterns.
Woohoo! Big thank you to Catherine. Was it? Did you say that was?
That
Catherine?
was Catherine.
Oh my goodness! I'm gonna have a new computer in no time. I just need to get approval from the yarn wife.
Yes.
I'm gonna call you the yarn wife.
The yarn wife? Oh, that's fairly accurate.
If Cammie can be the yarn horseman, you can be the yarn wife.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to pull out my little points. I've woven in my tails. All right. Oh my gosh. Oh, yes. This is a big yes. Okay. So I've got my original coaster in wool. It's about 6 inches or 15 centimeters in diameter. I have the brand new, this is the dishcloth I made with cotton that is going to get used workhorse in the sink. So made that last stream, and now we've got the 2 strands Poinsettia version. Oh my gosh, I love this. 8 inches. Boy, can I call it or what? 20 centimeters or 8 inches in diameter. If you use 2 strands, it might even be better than that, and a 6.5 millimeter hook, also known as a K. This is a 7 millimeter. It's roughly the same thing. Nico. Nico, thank you so much. Nico's gifted a membership.
Woohoo!
And it looks like Ellen won it.
Can we put that membership gift towards my new computer?
Yes, yes.
PS5?
Yes, we can.
PS5 or new computer?
New computer. I saw you trying to sneak that in
There's
there.
rules. Marie was helping me sneak in PS5.
Welcome back to the family, Ellen. And Amy! Amy with a very generous super chat. Thank you, Amy. Not much, but a little towards your upgrades. I have a fabulous day, Jayda and Mr. Stitches. Thank you, Amy. It's every little bit helps, you guys. You know that. You know that in your own life. Every little, what my grandfather used to say, every penny counts. It really does make a difference. Thank you so much. Yes, we actually have started a little fund for our computer. We always try to save up for things here because, you know, you have to.
We really do have a plan to get a new computer.
Yes.
It'll probably be, I'm going to guess, next year.
Yes. I'm hoping next year.
That's the plan. By early to mid next year, we should have a new computer.
All right, darlings. Now for a little color fun, a little bit of extra detailing. Since this is a bigger thing, it's going to be a hot pad, and it's going to have sort of, place of prominence on the counter when you're putting down, especially if you're having like guests and you're doing that whole like serve yourself, everything sits on the counter. This is going to be really pretty sitting there before a pot lands on it. So I want to just give it a little bit of extra detailing to make it look like that poinsettia. So I'm going to cut myself a length of cotton yarn. It's the yellow. And I'm going to do some French knots. French knots will flatten. So if I sit a big heavy pot on it, it's not like it's going to make the pot unbalanced. And French knots, a little embroidery trick, kind of look like stamen do. So here we go. I'm going to bring my yarn in from the back, somewhere in the middle of my middle black section. I'm going to leave some tail out the back for knotting. And here we go. If you've never made a French knot, they're really, really simple to do. I like to take my hook, wrap the yarn around it 4-5 times maybe. And then I like to hold my yarn needle against my project, put a finger on that loop so that it doesn't want to unravel, and then pull the needle through. And the first one always feels like a little loose, but that's okay because you can grab this and just pull it down from behind. And then I'll pull both those ends. And now you have this really cute little French knot. You can make French knots with varying numbers of yarn over the needle, but you'll notice it looks a little bit like that stamen, the center of a flower. So then after I've done that part, I like to go back down through, maybe I skip over one little loop. So you see if I run my needle under it, you see I'm under a loop. I'm just going to scooch through. I'm going to run my yarn needle right through the stitches so you don't see it in the back. I'm running it through the stitches. And I'm going to do another one over here. And I'm going to do a few of these. So now there's a little bit more like tension created by that first stitch. So now I can really like wrap my yarn, what did I do, 4 or 5? 5 times, and I can have it tight up against my work, hold the last loop, pull the needle through it, and just fiddle with some of those loops, make sure that they sit underneath. There we go. Pull it nice and tight. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to run my needle underneath some of these stitches and just pull it out over here. And this way I'm adding some embroidery, but you're not going to see any of it out the back either. And I'm actually going to knot these together and weave these tails in too. I like how this looks. That's sexy. That's sexy crochet right there. Is that a thing? I don't know. So I'm doing 5 yarn overs.
Of course sexy crochet is a thing. That's all we do here at Jayda and Stitches is sexy crochet.
Sexy crochet. Sexy
we even have
kitchen
sexy
crochet.
Squirrels here.
Sexy kitchen crochet.
Sexy kitchen crochet. Sexy pot holder.
Yes.
Arrgh.
Sexy pot holder. I'm going to just do, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, as many as I feel. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Very, very pretty. 2, 3, 4, 5. Pulling the tail through. So I'm holding the last yarn over with my thumb and forefinger when I pull the needle through it. It's actually good to practice French knots and these kinds of embroidery techniques with yarn and a bigger needle because it makes it easier to do by memory when you go to do embroidery with like needle and thread, if you ever get around to doing that sort of thing. So I also kind of like twist it towards
super sticker.
Oh, Mila! Thank you, Mila. Mila with a super sticker. Thank you so much. A super chat, in fact.
Oh, it's a
let's
super
celebrate.
chat, but there's a sticker at the top.
Yeah, let's celebrate Mila's first super sticker on a live stream. That's what the little note says. So thank you, Mila. Mila says just a little towards the computer fund. Thank you so much. Love the live chats and tutorials, although it's hard to choose between yarn and technology. I agree. But if technology means that we can keep doing this with you guys, then that's what it'll be. I also have a tremendous amount of yarn to get through, so I'm okay saying no to yarn for a little while if it means saving up for a computer. I think I'm going to do a few more in the center too, just so it really looks like an actual, like the real middle of one of these things. So I'm going to just sort of try to angle this one in towards the middle. The nice thing about doing embroidery for something that's kind of like an organic shape, like a flower, or you hear me talk about this when we do pumpkins and stuff, is that, you know, nothing in nature is like necessarily perfectly geometric. It may follow the geometric shape, but it's not always necessarily perfect. So I'm just going to randomly put some of these little French knots in here, and that'll be the middle of my Poinsettia pot holder. Might just use up whatever the yarn I snipped and just sort of leave it at that.
Krista would like to know if you can still do those knots if you're not French.
Yes.
I think so. You just have to say bonjour and au revoir as you're making them.
And merci.
And merci.
Merci.
That's right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7's a good number. I think that's a nice a nice scattering of them in the middle. I also love how they stand out against that black center, so this was good. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my needle, I'm going to look back here, I'm going to run my needle through the stitches to the same place, more or less, where I brought my yarn in originally. So now I'm looking at the back. So there's my little stamen in the front. I've got both my tails coming out the same, more or less, place in the back. I'm going to knot them together, and then I'm going to weave them in so that they are kind of hidden inside the black stitches. So there might be a little tiny wee bit showing, but it won't be that much. So here I go. Gonna just, I don't know, I might do one at a time. I'm not sure. I want to be kind of tight with the weaving. Boy, cotton does not want to unwind. I can barely get this to pull through. Here we go. Okay. I think I'm going to have this one do the same trajectory. So let me go through the same stitches. I'm going to make sure I'm not, it's not showing through to the other side. Take this one too. There we go. I'm going to go all the way around these original stitches. Just I'm going sort of through them, just hiding that yellow yarn. And it's cotton, so it's really not going to want to unwind. All right, I think that's enough. I'm going to trim what's left. That is definitely not coming out anytime soon. Plus, I knotted those yarns together, so let's just bury you. There we go. So there we go. All right. From this to this. Haha. Here's my little trio here. I'll get my accoutrement out of the way. So, my gosh, where are we at? This is our original sunflower coaster pattern. Currently on sale in the Etsy shop. It has a big brother in the placemat format. You can do exactly the same thing with the placemat as we did with this one. So you can use cotton yarn, follow the pattern exactly, but just use it for a little more hard work, say in the kitchen. Maybe it needs to, it's not so much a placemat or a coaster, but it's maybe something sitting underneath, you know, something like a heavy thing on the counter that you want to protect the counter, you know, something like that. Or you can use it as a dishcloth. I will be using this as a dishcloth. Or you can make it a hot pad. You can do the same color work as we did with the coaster. So the first 3 rows are the center, and then the last 2 rows are the leaf, and that gives, or the petal, and that gives you that sunflower look. Or you can do what we did here and just make the first row, this little row here, row 1, a different color, in this case black, and then the rest of the rows in red and get like a poinsettia kind of look. And I think it really sells it when you add that little bit of detailing in the middle. It just kind of sells it. So 2 strands held together, exact same pattern, decent upsize. There's a 2-inch difference in diameter between our hot pad, the double strand, and the original coaster or dishcloth, which is a single strand. 1 pattern, multiple project options. I love this. This is so pretty. I can't wait to put that in the kitchen. So we can take it from the fall, Thanksgiving, all the way into kind of the Christmas. It's the same pattern, and you can do the same concept that we did here with this, with the placemat too. So if you wanted, you know, a matching poinsettia placemat and coaster set, you could do the same thing. You're just changing the colors around. We do have tutorials for this. And of course, we've got patterns in the shop. If you're going to do this and you buy the pattern, make sure to include notes on your pattern. So exactly when you might change colors, you know, to get more of a poinsettia look, you know, how much yarn maybe you're going to want if you're going to do a double-stranded hot pad. The yarn I used to make, I'd say you need about like 13 yards of each color for per coaster. So 13 yards of brown, 13 yards of yellow for the coaster. If you're doing the double strand thing, maybe 20 yards. 20 yards if you're going to do the coaster, the hot pad version, but in the same colorway. So 20 yards brown, 20 yards yellow. If you're going to do the poinsettia, I'd say you need about 6 yards total of black. That is Patricia. Thank you so much for picking up a pattern to Patricia. 6 yards for the black altogether. And then maybe 50 yards all together. Maybe 60. Say safely 60 yards. That's 30 yards per strand altogether for the red. And then just a smattering. I think I used like less than a yard for the yellow if you're going to do the little detailing here. So those are the numbers I would keep in mind if you're going to kind of make some notes on your own pattern. If you want to do this, look at this. This is the same pattern. Look how different it looks. This excites me. I can't get enough of this. So now I have a brand new dishcloth and a brand new hot pad, and I've got sort of September through to December covered with one pattern. Love it. Melissa, welcome to Alpaca, Melissa. Melissa's back to Alpaca. Welcome back to the family. Gonna have a little bit of water break. All right, guys. Does anyone have any questions? I'd be happy to answer some questions about the pattern, the hooks, the yarn we used, anything. I am really happy with it. I'm just in love with the way this turned out. This worked out so well. And I feel a big part of that is the mixing of the two colors. Once again, this was like a red handicrafter yarn from Bernat. So Bernat's basic hardworking cotton yarn. That's just their basic red color, which is kind of a cherry-ish color. And this is the Re-Up in red by Lion Brand. Slightly thinner, but still considered a size 4 weight. And those two together made a really pretty red. I really like the depth that got using those two colors together. Ooh, woo-wee. I'm really glad you guys are all able to hang out with us for an extended amount of time today. We did the 2 live stream option. I kind of like that. I think, we might look into doing that again in the future if we've got maybe like a 2-part project or a slightly longer project. We'll kind of take a break in the middle, especially if we're doing kind of 2 different versions of the same thing. So, if you want to come back and watch one versus the other, then they're kind of easily separated for you. I kind of like that.
We have a few questions starting to roll in here.
Let's take them. What do we got? If you're doing a poinsettia placemat, how many rows in the center before changing color? Asks Chris. Great question. The placemat is somewhat larger. I would do your choice 2 or like the first 2 or the first 3 rows in the different color for the poinsettia placemat version, because I think it's I think we doubled it. I think it's a double. So first 2 or first 3, I'm maybe even thinking the first 2 rows in the dark center color for the poinsettia version if you're doing the placemat, as opposed to 2. First 2 rows. Yeah. I think that's pretty much a doubling of size. So the coaster is literally half the size of the placemat. And for the poinsettia, they really do have a tiny little center. So I would say the first 2 rows. That's what I would say. First 2 rows. Good question. What do we got? Did you use a bigger hook to make the red pad? Yes. So I used a 5.5 millimeter. Brenda, thank you so much for your purchase. 5.5 millimeter or an I9 for the dishcloth or coaster pattern, and a 6.5 or 7 millimeter hook, also known as a K, for the double stranded pot holder version. So yes, slightly bigger hook. And what else we got? Mr. Stitches, can you help me out? Can you go extra rounds to get a bigger hot pad, says Georgie. Yes, Georgie, if you want an extra large hot pad, I recommend using the placemat pattern and just double stranding the placemat pattern. It'll be a lot bigger, but there's nothing wrong with a really big pot holder. So Same thing. If you wanted to make it the Poinsettia version hot pad, but way bigger, I would use our placemat, the sunflower placemat pattern. And like I just said earlier, do the first 2 rows in the darker color before you switch to red. And that will be nice and thick and it'll be really big. The placemat is 9 rounds before the petal section, says Kathy. Yeah, okay, so then I still think 2 is better if you're doing the poinsettia look, because the poinsettia really has a tiny little middle to it. It doesn't need to be that big. But if you yourself think you want a slightly larger one, you can decide to go 2 or 3. But remember, like that's 3 rows, and I feel like even on a slightly larger placemat, that's too big. So I still think it should the first 2 rows in the different color for the poinsettia if you're making the placemat version. What else we got? If I use chunky yarn to make the flower, will it get the same thing as the 2 strands, says Joanna. Chunky size 5 weight yarn is only slightly thicker than a 4 weight. So if you use size 5, then it's only going to upsize a little bit, but not as much as if you did 2 strands of a size 4 together. Because the way I look at it is this: 2 strands of size 4 is basically like 1.5 times the weight of a single strand of size 5. So a single strand of size 5 is not quite double a worsted weight, if that makes sense. So you can use a size 5 yarn and the regular 5.5 millimeter hook, and this will be just a little bit bigger, but it won't be as big as this one. Anybody else? Do you stretch your hands in your break? I do. I can see using scrubby yarn in the center of a dishcloth. Yes, Regina, I think that would really work. I didn't want to use the scrubby on camera because sometimes it's not easy to see the stitches, but for a dishcloth, I think using that scrubby would be amazing in the center, and then maybe switch to a non-scrubby for the petals. That would look really cool. It would have neat texture and it would have additional scrubbing power. So I think that's a great idea, Regina. Is that the classic round motif pattern that is that the classic round motif pattern that is your pattern that I use to make your coasters? Thank you, Pal. Pal's just picked up a pattern in our shop. Knowledge made clear. Is that your pattern I use to make your coasters? So it's the Joyce. Thank you for picking up a couple patterns too. The first 3 rows is your typical increasing in the round row, but I like to do that one where you skip the chain 3 for successive rows and add an extra double crochet. So if you want to watch the original tutorial, we explain all that, and it's a circular double crochet pattern that I use a lot when I'm increasing. Could you do the petals as leaves, says Bobby. Oh, heck yeah. I think if you wanted to make this, like if you wanted to play with color and then make the last couple rows in green, you would definitely get more of like a flower in the middle, and then these being, if you change it to green, they're going to look like leaves and not so much petals. So yeah, play with color. Holy cow, please play with color. That's one of my favorite things to do when I'm experimenting with patterns. Crochet with Diane, thank you so much for the super chat. Is this the super large picot pattern? Is this the super large picot pattern? I don't know. The only picot used is this little guy up here at the point of the leaf, or at the point of the petal. It's the chain 3 slip stitch. That's the little picot. It's shaping these petals is something we've done before with the spring flower doily, because I just love how that looks. But the only part that's technically a picot is this little guy right up here, the little point. And thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. I'm looking at, if you want to block them, you go right ahead. A little bit of steam blocking or getting them slightly damp and just weighting them down or pinning them into place, that'll help block them. But if it's something like a hot pad or a dishcloth, don't bother. You're just going to start using them, and they'll settle themselves into place. So that works. Did you use the magic circle in the sunflower? Hubby called and pause the video. Okay, Dawn. Yes, I used the cinch circle for all 3 of these because I wanted the center to disappear. Like I said, if you were doing just the dishcloth and you have trouble with the cinch circle or the magic circle, you can use a chained ring of like 4, like a very small chained ring. Because basically you don't want to see the center with a space in it. So yes, I use the magic circle, or the cinch circle as I call it, in the middle. And Shelly, thank you for the super chat, Shelly. Shelly says, I'm working on a baby blanket for my new great niece coming soon. Aw, congratulations to the family, Shelly. That's really wonderful news. Have you chosen next year's calendar blanket? Actually, Tori, we have, but that's all I'm going to say. Have you had a chance to check out Cambridge Fibers yet? I think you'd really enjoy the store and the owners as well. She's lovely. It's beside Len's Mills. No, actually, I've been to Cambridge once in my life, and it was never actually to visit the big yarn mill. I still haven't been. I haven't managed to make it. This I think is the last time I was in that wing of Ontario. We were visiting Mary Maxim in Paris, which I think is south of Cambridge. All right, looks like I've got everybody's questions. If you have any more, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comments section down below. If you make some of these and you want to share photographs, please pop into our Etsy shop. You can click on message seller, or if you've already got a message thread going with us, just click in that message thread and you can upload photographs and send them to us by clicking on the little camera icon or the little landscape icon. It'll let you upload or take a photograph. And if it's okay to share it with the community at large, please let us know that it's okay to share, because we want to respect everybody's privacy. So if it's okay to share, please let us know. And in the meantime, we will see you guys Friday for a tutorial, our regular scheduled Friday video. Mr. InStitches, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, just bye everyone.
All right.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks
we'll
for
see everyone on Friday.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out for a sort of a bonus live stream. I hope you guys enjoyed today's, experimenting with patterns and color, and we'll see you guys Friday. Have a great week. Stay safe and stay crafty.